Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Right now, as we speak, Palantir Technologies is sitting on the edge of $80, which is pretty insane. We're going to be talking about what we could expect at market opening. Before we get too far, listen to this interesting clip that recently was released from Alex Carp releasing a statement here.
Honestly, probably shouldn't say this. This is why I thought the Democrats were going to lose the election, why they did, because people want to live in peace. They want to go home. They do not want to hear your woke pagan ideology. They want to know they're safe. And safe means that the other person is scared. That's how you make someone safe. And the average American person understands this. Unfortunately, many of the intellectually captured institutions funneled and intellectually owned by the Berkeley faculty do not. And that's what they want. It's sure as hell what I want. And that's what Palantir and all the people in this room, I hope, we're here to serve the American people. And my version of service is the soldiers are happier, the enemies are scared, and Americans go back to enjoying the fact that we're the only one with a real tech scene in this country, and we're going to win everything.
Now, very interesting to see him come out here and say this. Of course, there's some political side to it. We're nonpartisan on the channel. But nonetheless, saying that, hey, Americans want to be safe. I think a lot of people can universally agree on this. And that's what Alex Carp is saying. That's what a service offers in terms of a defense industrial type of perspective. And we're seeing this, especially with the involvement with the governmental contracts, with different defense types contracts. That is the objective for Palantir, utilizing AI to help increase the security of the West. So what we see here, Alex Carp staying true to what he believes in, what the company believes in, and it's an interesting clip nonetheless. What do you think about it down in the comments? But let's get into the video. We're on the road to 19,000 subscribers. Let's see if we can hit that soon in the next few days. Of course, not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up here. Palantir closed on Friday at $76.34. But right now, what we're seeing in the after hours is Palantir up another $3, ladies and gentlemen, at $79.41. Now, could this clip from Alex Carp be causing some inertia, some momentum coming in here? I think possibly. What we also need to be talking about, though, is what's going to be happening December 13th. And that's just in a few short days here, ladies and gentlemen. December 13th is this upcoming Friday. It's going to be really important. We'll touch base here in just a second. But right now, what we're seeing in open and active contracts is about 25,000 at the $80 call, which means that a lot of investors, institutional, retail across the board, are expecting Palantir to continue on this run, completely disconnected from valuation. We know this, and we're talking about with this current run, with the AI boom and the momentum, how high does Palantir have to go? How high is it going to go before we see any type of profit taking? We see Palantir that is completely ignoring any type of fundamentals. On this technical basis, it is soaring very high. And a lot of people are taking advantage of this run, trying to get in on calls, trying to get in, wondering when should they get in, waiting for that dip. But let's talk about what's going to be happening December 13th. Now, this is going to be a very big day that could bring a lot if this comes to fruition. It could be bringing a lot of trendiness, a lot of hype, FOMO, especially into Palantir. Now, of course, this incredible run that we've seen in 2024, we've been talking about Palantir for a long time here with, of course, their induction to the S&P 500 was a major catalyst for Palantir's growth in terms of buying pressure and momentum. But what's happening on December 13th right here is this falls on the Friday, and it's actually Friday the 13th. Usually that comes with bad luck. But the NASDAQ 100 index is going to be reconstituted. And what this means is that a new selection of companies will be added to the index, replacing the stocks that have fallen out of eligibility. Now, this is important because the NASDAQ 100, typically what we've seen, like the QQQ, tracking the top 100 companies, this is affiliated with growth stocks and investors trying to get exposure to more of an aggressive growth type strategy and a lucrative opportunities beyond the S&P 500. It's much more aggressive than the S&P 500. You're basically buying the top 100 companies that are soaring, growing at a rapid pace. Typically, these are tech companies. Now, this is going to be announced on December 13th. if Palantir gets included into this list, this is where I think we could see the road to 100 by the end of the year be a possibility. Does it make it a buy? I don't know if it makes it a buy, especially at these prices. Personally, I probably would not be entering. I'd be waiting for more of a dip, sitting on the sidelines. Now, history is no guarantee here, but if the company was to earn a spot, this is where we could see more momentum coming in my own opinion, because we've seen no type of momentum slowing down. Of course, anything can happen with time, but that's just really, the stock is showing that it has more room to run. And we're going to be talking about what does this correlate with the markets and expecting what could be happening this week. We're going to be gaining November CPI, wholesale inflation data, and we're going to be seeing earnings from some of the different companies. GameStop coming through. Talk about a meme stock right there. But inflation reports coming this week. And why I'm going to correlate this with Palantir is because of the anticipation that the Fed is going to be reducing their interest rate by another 25 basis point in the next FOMC meeting. This is sitting at about an 80% probability right now, and inflation is really going to be, I think, one of the biggest pieces of macroeconomic data that investors and especially Wall Street is going to be looking at. They're going to be waiting for the November Consumer Price Index that is set to release on Wednesday, and reports on wholesale inflation and import prices are coming later in the week. Now, with that, and for the consumer price report, you're also going to get the monthly federal budget, and then on Thursday, after the CPI data, the initial jobless claims is going to be coming here, also with the producer price index. So a lot of macroeconomic pieces of data that is going to be allowing the Fed probably to make more of an informed decision on what they want to do with the federal funds rate and with CPI, of course, for November. What we see, like I said, about an 80% chance we're going to see a reduction in the federal funds interest rate of about 25 basis points. Nonetheless, other stocks that I'll be looking at this week is going to be SoFi, sitting at about $16. People are sitting here. We see a lot of call activity popping into the next week for an end of the week expirations at that $16 call. And if SoFi does a good job here, we've seen a large run up, there could be room to run, especially with a reduction of interest rates. And one thing that's cool about SoFi is they're really on top in terms of a technological basis for fintech. A lot of technology and user accessibility that they can offer that is far superior to traditional banks. So if SoFi starts to take the limelight and take some competition and market share from traditional banks, that's where I think I could see this stock that is having room to run. We'll also be looking at Nvidia, of course, sitting at about $142, sitting pretty well. What we've seen here is consolidation in the 140s. Now, we do have price targets for Nvidia, and they've had a big good bounce back and reversal from the 130 right here. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this tech stock specifically, and with the anticipation of Blackwell chips, Nvidia does have a lot of growth story behind it. It's just a matter of what time and when that is going to occur. Other than that, not a ton of big other updates that I have throughout the weekend for you guys. You got Bitcoin that's slightly under 100,000 right now. It's been kind of teeter-tottering around that, sitting at about 98,000 as we speak. Will Bitcoin have a little bit of a profit-taking cascade here? Of course, we don't know. And looking at IWM, this is the iShares, the Russell 2000, small cap stocks. If we do see a reduction in the federal funds interest rate, that's where I think we're going to be seeing more momentum coming into the Russell 2000. Reason being is because these smaller companies will now have more cheaper options in terms of borrowing costs, which is what they need to help scale, to help bring more efficiency, productivity, and to help expand their businesses. This can be especially a big catalyst for small stocks and small caps. Sitting at 226 about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, now at 238. We see the IWM that is doing fairly well. So big anticipations this week, especially with interest rates. Palantir, we'll see if we get that push above 80, sitting at right now, still sitting at 79.35. What do you think is going to be happening with Palantir? Do you think that room to run over $80 is on the table? Or do you think we're going to see a reduction before that with the possibility of the introduction of Palantir into the NASDAQ 100 index. And what do you think about everything else that we talked about in this video? Peace out. Take care. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll be talking and giving you guys an update starting tomorrow. Have a great day.